I remember a lot of it.
I remember like it was 4 days ago.
That was still a compliment. It was 5 days ago.
What's that? Yo!
Welcome to Podcast This Escape, the podcast where we talk about the escape room that we escaped from in the previous episode of this podcast. David and Pax, you've done it. It was time to duel, and you did it. Good work.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I don't know about you, David, but I feel markedly smarter during this escape room than I did in the last one.
Interesting.
That is exactly what I wanted to say as well. Like this one was like, I feel like in the first one, we got stuck in those Christmas boxes for way too long.
And it was embarrassing.
I mean,
dude.
on some of these puzzles, especially when it came to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trivia parts, you did kick a little bit of ass.
Yeah.
And that was on you, Pax.
I was so proud of myself for having Yu-Gi-Oh! Knowledge. I don't know when it'll ever come up again, but it's done its purpose. It's done its job. That Yu-Gi-Oh! Knowledge has been in there since I was 12 years old, and now it has served its purpose, and I can put it to bed now.
It's perfect. I did like when we did the playtest for this. I was going through it, and I was playing along, and I've got some kind of Yu-Gi-Oh! Knowledge. Like I watched a lot of the first ones, like the first few seasons.
Not as much as us.
I had the cards and I played some games, but not quite as much. But I feel like, I had like a decent level of a fan's kind of Yu-Gi-Oh! Appreciation. And I played through it, and I did, like, I wouldn't have done the order of the Yu-Gi opponents.
Sure.
So I did it, and then I finished. I was like, oh, I know that we talked with David and Pax saying that they liked Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that they actually kind of know what's going on, because they're not going to enjoy it if they don't. And then then we get to like the monster thing, and you're sitting there going, wait, no, I had an insect queen. It's definitely 2200 attack, exactly. And I was like, okay, this is going to be perfectly fine.
But I realized that like my Yu-Gi-Oh! Knowledge when it comes to the anime and like the storylines of the anime is, I think, quite limited. It's okay, it's good, but I really nerded out on the game itself. Like that's what I really got into, going to tournaments, playing at my intermediate school. So that there was that very clear moment where it was guessed whether the attack power is higher or lower. Was it Judge Man? It was Judge Man. And that's where I really got to stretch my legs, baby.
I think there's a lot of good stuff in the episode. The mechanical chaser bit, where we're sitting on 1800 and you guys need to work out whether it's higher or lower, is I think the most high stakes bit of an episode we've done because you're just like, wait a minute, no, David, I'm so sorry. But I think I have to overrule you. I think it's going to be... It was so good.
I think the best way to put it...
I was so nervous because I knew, like, in this moment, I am just saying to David, make way for me. And I was
it's a horrible moment sometimes.
And it could have ended so badly because I'm the one going, halt everything. I'm trampling over what you think this is. Follow my lead. And it could have gone so badly. That's why I was genuinely nervous. When I was apologizing to David in advance, I was like really, really nervous that I'm screwing everything up.
Yeah. And when it's a 50-50 question, it's awful.
I think that's where like it was very appropriate that you were Seto Kaiba and I was Mokuba. Because I feel like me and Bill were like this. I like the same level of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Love. And then Danny and Pax are like the same level as well. Like that's kind of what I feel. There were moments I was like, I am so out of my depth. I'm a big fan of the show and I loved this as a kid, but I did not come in here with the same knowledge as I used to have.
But that's why I think that's why we worked, because you watched the cartoons and you loved them. I watched the cartoons as well, but I love the cartoons, but I watched every episode once when I was 13 and that's it. The memory is blurry. But and so with the two ends of the spectrum coming together to make Millennium,
and real niche, and real niche PS1 knowledge as well.
Oh, your PS1 knowledge came in clutch, dude.
I mean, it is true that you started the room by just being like, oh, don't you love Shardy and his Millennium Key? And I'm sitting there going, that's coming up later when you need to guess there's a missing Millennium Key.
Shardy and the Millennium Key was some clutch knowledge.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was probably the bit I was most worried about, people just forgetting who Shardy was.
So random.
So forgettable.
I mean, Shardy, look, I will say, I remembered I didn't remember that there was a Millennium Key during the playtest. Danny was like, there's a missing item. And I was like, I'm sure there is. Please tell me what, because I've got no, Shardy and his Millennium Key. I'm so sorry. Do you mean Odeon? No, Shardy. Oh, Shizu? No, Shardy. You remember Shardy.
Good old Shardy.
Good old Shardy.
Generic Egyptian man.
I legit thought I was crazy to think. I thought at the start of it, I was like, oh no, I've outed myself as not a fan by mentioning a Millennium item that does not exist. Millennium Key? You idiot. It was a scale. They were entering the mind because that's what people... I started backtracking on myself hard at that point.
What about the good old Millennium Plunger? That was awesome. Do we all remember the
Millennium Toilet?
I've tried to send Kaiba to the Shadow Realm, but I can't. It seems like it's plugged up. I can't get him to the Shadow Realm. Get me the Millennium Plunger. There are souls in my Shadow Realm tube. Get out of here.
It's just like 8 minutes of him going to the Shadow Realm
with a choir singing in the background.
I mean, it's an anime. They needed to fill some time. Just put in an 8-minute Millennium Plunge. I don't know if the Millennium Plunger's in the manga. No, it's fine. We caught up. We had to put in a couple Millennium Plunger episodes just to buy time.
I really, now that we're talking about it, I really wish the creators of the Yu-Gi-Oh anime did just throw in Millennium random items.
Yeah.
That would have been so good.
It would have been more like other anime, where they're just like, we would run out of Millennium things. We got to keep adding more.
The Millennium Nike slides.
Yeah.
For the chillest duelist.
For the chillest duelist.
Yeah, I mean, compared to the anime, the manga was quite restrained, but considering where the anime has since gone...
Oh, yeah, it gets
Good
weird.
God.
That's the other thing that I was really happy about, is that you guys didn't go further than what I knew, than Battle City. If you went past that, I would be 1,000% screwed. And also, I'm glad you guys didn't go further in the context of the actual card game itself as well. Because if you watch people, if you go to like a card shop nowadays, which I do from time to time because I still like playing Magic cards with my cousins and stuff. So we go to card shops every now and then. And I walk past the tables that are playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And sometimes I'll stop and just watch for a bit. And the phases and the turns that people go through are just absurd.
There's nonsense now.
It's nonsense. Every single card has a paragraph of text.
Yeah.
And it's like a new kind of fusion monster that I still don't understand.
I mean, I dropped out at like sync summons.
Yes,
had,
that's
like,
what I mean.
Synchronized summons. And I was like, that's too much for me now. It's too far. That's some that's some
like
Zexal stuff.
I remember talking to someone, because I played a bit of sync summon as well. And then that's kind of where I stopped as well. So we're kind of at the same point.
Yeah.
And I remember asking someone about sync summon, and he just laughed and walked away. He didn't even explain it to me.
Oh, you don't know. Oh, look at this guy doesn't even know how to sync summon.
Yeah, it was the most degrading experience of my life.
And then you never touched another Yu-Gi-Oh card again.
He was like a 5'3" guy with dreads, and he just laughed and walked off.
Oh man,
so sad.
I think it is one of those things, though, that's interesting about Yu-Gi-Oh! When you compare it to something like Magic the Gathering, is that Magic the Gathering, when it adds new stuff to the game, its only concern is the card game. The only concern of Magic the Gathering is, let's add this season, or whatever, this like new kind of pack. We're going to add a couple of mechanics that make sense within the card game specifically and will be appreciated by people who play the card game. Whereas Yu-Gi-Oh! Has to be like, I'm a TV show for kids. And it's like, oh no, what are we going to do in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX? We're going to do sync summons. It's a whole new thing. And then they probably said, we're going to do sync summons, and then gone, well, what does that mean? What is a sync summon? But they need something new and flashy for the new season of the anime. They need something that makes some like dramatic sense. And then they have to backform it into a card game.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like with Magic the Gathering, like you said it, it's mechanics. They add mechanics. which just add to the flow of the game. Whereas Yu-Gi-Oh, because it comes from an anime, it's more about the thing that you're trying to execute. How high is the degree of difficulty? Because if you can execute it, then you're almost replicating the anime. Because you've executed this thing that has a very high degree of difficulty. And so when the card that you're trying to get to comes out because you've sacrificed this and you've fused these two, and then all the goblins on your field have been sent to this and that and that, and then blah, 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 blah. And then the card comes out. It's like that, whoa moment.
Yeah. Which is a great moment in a show. It's a cool, dramatic thing.
Yeah, it's a great moment. But it's at a card store when you're playing in a tournament. It's so dumb because you sit there for 12 minutes watching a 5'3" guy with dreads do one move that takes that long, and you're just watching him.
Is Yu-Gi-Oh just digging the card game?
Yeah.
You're just constantly trying to find certain cards and getting through your deck.
Just
going. Some people do build them like that. That's mad. I don't know very much about like actual competitive real world card playing because I don't know what cards are banned. It seems like all the good Magic
all the ones
cards.
you like. Pot of Greed, it's out.
Monster Reborn,
it's out.
Dark Hole,
Dark Hole, probably out.
Ugh.
Millennium Plunger, out.
Millennium, they don't even use Millennium Plunger.
Yeah.
Which is that you just slap the top of your deck and anything that comes up with your hand, you get to draw.
I got real nostalgic for Yu-Gi-Oh after our podcast. And so I started watching clips on YouTube, and I managed to watch the clip where Yugi turns it around on Kaiba with Marek, but he's got the puppet guy with all the things who's like famous for Revival Jam.
Fabulous.
And I thought it was so sick how he turned Revival Jam back on the guy so that he, instead of like defeating him normally with life points, he just drained his deck. And I was like, oh, this is why I love this. Like, I'm 29 and it's still pretty sick.
That was a good one. Have you watched what you might have seen on YouTube, any of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series?
No.
Now,
well worth it.
Yeah, you definitely should. Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged is a great... Hey, sorry, everybody at home, we're just having a chat. We will talk about some puzzles in a second, don't worry. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged is great. It's a guy who started making them on YouTube, probably even pre-YouTube maybe. I don't know.
Goodness.
Maybe not. But he started making... And it's a series of him like taking each episode or section of Yu-Gi-Oh!, condensing it down and redubbing everything himself as like a summary joke version of the episodes. It's like a classic. They started doing it with a whole bunch of other anime as well. There's other people who did like a Dragon Ball Z abridged and things like that. But it's just great. And it's just him doing like bad impressions of all the characters and picking up on all the stuff that just makes Yu-Gi-Oh! As silly as it is. It is fantastic. It's been around for years, and it's just
I'm gonna try that again.
Yeah, if you want to get back those Yu-Gi-Oh! Feelings of early Yu-Gi-Oh! Without rewatching the whole series, you watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, you'll love it. It's fantastic.
What about is there an abridged for Dungeon Dice Monsters?
I'm sure there are some Dungeon Dice Monsters references in there.
Oh, they have the whole Dungeon Dice Monsters episode.
Perfect.
Oh, great.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So this is the thing that is interesting about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that when it started, like we were talking a little bit about this in the episode, like the first whole arc, the guy didn't know kind of that he wanted to just do this one card game. And so he was making up new games every volume of the manga.
The whole thing is Yu-Gi-Oh! Means king of games.
Yeah. And so king of all games. So like there's like, we're doing a chapter where Yu-Gi-Oh! Plays Clock Solitaire. We're doing a chapter where he plays Dungeon Dice Monsters. Here he's going to play some other kind of D&D clone. Here he's playing this.
Here's another one where he just burns a murderer to death or a robber to death.
Sometimes he just makes up his own death games. But like, they're just playing with all these fun, until eventually he made up, like, and it felt just as one-off and arbitrary as all the others. He was like, and here's a game where you summon monster cards. It's called Duel Monsters. Yeah, that's another one. And then eventually it was like, actually, that was cool. I'm going to stick with that.
Right.
But in the anime as well, they keep some, like, Duke Devlin will rock up and play Dungeon Dice Monsters. And
in the Japanese one, when they made their season 0, that's when they had all of the non-card game episodes. Like Dungeon Capsule Monsters, Egg Capsule Monsters.
Capsule Monsters, all these weird little things.
Wow.
But
and back then, Kaiba had green hair in that time as well, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's some green-haired Kaiba. Far out.
And they also had like, you could also see like the startings of some of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like there was no like not life points, like attack points on them, but you could see the pictures and you could tell, oh, that became that card.
That's a guy that comes in later. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about the actual escape room that we've done, rather than talking about Yu-Gi-Oh, which is fine. I'm happy to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, but let's talk a little bit about the actual escape room. You guys did very well, obviously. You kind of smashed through it. You didn't often have like a sticking point. Was it we've sort of talked about like cool moments of trivia that made you feel good. You each kind of had like some fun moments. Is there anything in the room that, I don't know, as a puzzle that you did, is there anything you remember being like, oh yeah, this was really fun to work through? Like I know, like we did like the word puzzle, we had the gods need to fuse together, all this sort of stuff. Was there anything that stood out to you as a enjoyable puzzle moment?
I think one bit that really gets me, that I really, really love, is the world that you create within the escape room. And it goes like, because the puzzles are like, okay, that's like the meat of the game. But then there were also the mini puzzles where you had like, oh, there's a torch there. Oh, the surroundings interact with each other. And those things, I think, is what really brings the whole experience together. Because it changes the rhythm of how your brain is trying to work through puzzles. It's not just the same kind of puzzle kind of like presented at you. You have to really think sideways to get through it. And it's so satisfying. Because it's satisfying because you feel like you achieved something that wasn't that you had to like sit on for a little bit.
It's like the audio escape room equivalent of having a real world practical skill.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. And that was especially with the I think there were two moments from each of us where we had said something prior, almost like foreshadowing, and then later on we applied it. And the one that I remember quite vividly was the torch one, where I found the torch in the Pax said that there was a torch in the other room, and I was like, of course. And then going that to melt it, and then that little moment of like, is this gonna work? Are we stupid? Have we just wasted more time? And then it actually works out. We're like, oh my god, how do we figure that out?
Yeah, for me, the bits that stood out with it, there were two moments. David mentioned one of them, where it was like a real eureka moment for one of us, and we audibly expressed it. Like either me or David were like, "Oh my god!" Like you knew that like something in our brain just went clink, and we figured it out, which makes it extra embarrassing if you have that really physical audible moment and then turns out it's wrong.
I'm sure there's at least one moment in the room, I think possibly in the final edit, but maybe not, of just, I think it's Pax having a moment of just being like, wait. Oh no.
You did that a few times during the word puzzle one. I was with you every time.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, so
the
I
word
think for me
puzzle,
the moment was, I think David mentioned it was the fire on the ice. That was the big, like, brain goes, hey, you figured it out. And then David, I can't remember your one, but you had one later where your brain, you audibly, like, we all knew that you figured something out and it was right and it was critical. Do you remember what it was?
I can't. It's on the tip of my tongue right now, but I just
swept up in the moment.
I can't remember what it is.
Yeah. But yeah, those two moments they were my favorite because they're just fun. Those moments are just fun.
That's kind of that's what the best feeling of doing these rooms is, where there's suddenly this like, wait a minute, it's all come together. It really is exciting. But it is true. I like that I think this is one of those things that people sometimes forget when they're trying to like. Some people listen to our show and they think, oh, I'm going to like put puzzles into my Dungeons and Dragons game.
Yeah.
I'm going to put, and I think it's good to remember that we have like puzzles, right? We did that word puzzle, which was like a real like sit down and try and figure out, you found the puzzle, you've got to it. But also there's so much of the puzzle is built in going, wait a minute, there was a coin in one room and there's a thing in the other room. And I think the one that David had was where he was just like, when you lost the coin, and you're like, oh no, we lost the coin. And David's like, no, you shut up. I'm going to the other room. I go to the pond. I grab that penguin. I pull him in here. And I say, put the coin back in my hand, penguin. Yeah. And he did. And I didn't get that in the playtest. I did not notice that. And David just immediately was like, "Yes, it's returning to my hand."
Yeah, that was David's moment. That was the one.
Yeah.
The bit that killed me was the word puzzle.
Yep.
The bit that killed me, oh my God, the word puzzle killed me. Because I felt like both of you could feel us get close and then back away.
Oh, yeah, there was some moments.
You mentioned the alphabet.
Yeah, like the moments you're like, wait, all of these ones, they start with like a B or like early. Yeah. No, maybe like the second letter is always before the next one's second letter. No, that's not. Maybe all the letters are in the words. No, I don't know. It's like, oh, they're so close.
But it's funny because like there are moments where you're doing it and you're like, I am helpless. I do not know. We are never getting out of here, Pax. Oh no, what have we done?
We live here now. We live here.
I think it just really makes when you finally get it, or when Pax gets it and got like the right order of letters, it's just such a relief, and it all just kind of, and it makes it so worth it.
I know. Yeah. You know that song when I knew that I was getting it, when I knew that I had figured it out, but I was just fact checking, but I knew I was on the path to getting out of that bit of the escape room. The music that plays in every Disney Channel sports drama was playing in my head. You know the one where if you would try the same song every time. That was in my head. That level of achievement that I'm doing something important was happening in my head.
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like it made sense to me to make the most aggravating puzzle of the room the monkey. The stupid Tristan monkey.
The stupid little monkey robot telling you like, come on. I will say, I think that puzzle was like the most like pure just like, this is a puzzle that we've done for quite a while. But I really like it. And it has that feeling when you do that, like that style of puzzle, like it really is like, it is like you're trapped in a little box and you're just like knocking at each individual brick being like, is this the way out? Is this like, is it first letters? No. Is it last letters? No. Is it syllables? No. And you're just knocking around the room until eventually you kind of hit one and there's like a little dunk. You know, oh my God, this is it. Wait a minute. Hold on. Dunk, dunk, dunk. Wait a minute. And you break out into freedom.
With me and David, we knock a brick and it goes dunk. And then we go, nah, it's not that.
Nah, it couldn't be. They've barred us in with hollow bricks.
Pax, we broke the room. Put it back.
Oh no!
Tell them.
I think my highlights of you guys playing were one, polymerizing the Egyptian gods to create them. I just love that. I was very happy with how that went. And the other one, thank you for actually digging in the graves. Billy didn't do that. So by the time he got up to what item is missing at the very end, he hadn't found any of the Millennium items.
Like, what are you talking about? Items are missing? Get out of here. And I didn't look in the graves at all. Whereas I was worried that you guys weren't going to look in the open grave. Because it was like there's one grave, tantalizingly open, and then 6 that are covered up. And you were like, well, let's uncover those 6 graves. Great. All right, what do we do now? I don't know.
That's what makes the pacing of your guys' room so well made, is because when you start the room, you look at once you've collected all the locations, you know what everything's happening. I don't know about you, Pax, but you just look at it and you're like, there's nothing. There's nothing here. We haven't been given any kind of breadcrumbs to get the motor started or get the engine started. What are we going to do? And then we just keep pushing bricks, and then finally one comes out, and then it's just this chain reaction. And what's great about the chain reaction is it's not the same the whole way through. It's constantly changing, and it's so good.
It was really fun.
It's an interesting balance, but it is nice. And the best moments are when you've got those Millennium items and you spend the whole room in like, we haven't used these Millennium items. What do we need to use these for? Like, we've got this, we've got the plunger and I haven't plunged anything. And like, that's a nice feeling. Or when you're the opposite way and it's like these moments of like, you started doing Sobek and you knew Sobek off immediately. Like, Sobek, that's a crocodile man. Bum, he's done. I need to know these others. We need something that tells us about Egyptian. And then being like, wait a minute, a book. Hold on, there was a book somewhere.
That is definitely going to be this book that I need right now.
Those mini goals within the room where you're like, I still don't know how this connects, but I know what I'm looking for. I know this next step.
The other terrifying moment was when the third Blue Eyes White Dragon wasn't real. And I just was like, oh my God, David, we're at the end of the room and we're stuck.
I could not believe how effective the fake out that I do there was because it got
did
you
the same
as well.
thing. I was
just
like,
not opening the safe.
Nothing. And the safe opens, and then this cutscene happens, and I'm the same as you. I'm just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
How do I find another blue eyes?
Yeah.
To the point where even when you guys were doing it, having played the room a couple of days after me, I was still thinking, where the hell do they get that final blue eyes?
Yeah.
How do you do this?
Does
it just fix itself?
We only have 2 blue eyes and we can't find the third one. And one of you, I can't remember which one, but one of you was like, what have you? And there was a little bit of frustration in your voice. Not a lot.
It wouldn't have been frustration. It would have been panic for your scheduling time.
It was just like, what have you just done?
Take a second.
There's a save.
No, anything in my voice was just concerned that you were going to have to hang up.
No, she's lying. Right after the recording, Danny turned to me and said, "What dummies? Didn't even see the safe. What dummies?"
No, but it was great.
I think the time pressure added to it. The time pressure really turned us into trapped animals.
Scared the crap out of me.
No, it was. Look, you guys did really well. It was.
My final question is: Did you have any suspicion at any point that you were not really in the Shadow Realm?
No, I thought I was in the Shadow Realm the whole time.
I did. I did have suspicion. What were we in the end?
You're in a Big 5 simulation.
Yeah, so I did think computer program maybe. I did think, a couple of times I did think, I don't think we're in the Shadow Realm. Because I don't know, it just felt weird. Like, there were a couple of moments where I was like, this doesn't add up completely. Like, why is Yugi there? Mm-hmm. Why is Joey there? And why aren't they? And I know, Bill, you're acting them out. So it's like, you're the driver of who they are in the room. But if we truly were in the Shadow Realm, I felt like that would have been something in your brain subconsciously, and that would have driven you to say things more in line like Joey also questioning like what's going on, or Joey
they didn't seem bothered.
Like, hey, Kaiba, you're an asshole, but where are we right now and what's going on?
Yeah. Whereas instead they were just like. Instead, they were overly friendly, and as soon as you free them, they say, hey, we're so close, you'll start sharing secrets with me, right?
So I didn't notice this. I didn't notice...
There was just something fishy between our interaction with the characters, and I didn't trust it.
Yeah, it was odd and inauthentic.
Even if in the moment, if I followed my nose and just said it out loud, hey, we're not in the Shadow Realm, I couldn't put my finger on how that would help us anyway. So I just left it.
I also noticed... I think the reason why I don't think we're in the Shadow Realm, there was not many stairs. There's usually a lot more stairs in the Shadow Realm.
The Shadow Realm was
crafty.
Stairs. Yeah. I was going to say, I didn't notice this until the edit. The extent, even though I was saying them in the room, I was sort of noticing that, like, the whole point was they were like, we're going to set up a thing where Kaiba gives his passcode away or says his passcode to his safe. And, like, Pegasus, when you free him, is like, oh, let's work together. We could be business partners and maybe share passcodes and things like that. And Joey's like, hey, why don't you could give me some money maybe? Hey, maybe you should give me some money. Go get it out of your safe. And Yugi's like, yes, Kaiba. What does Yugi say?
I can't remember.
Something
safe? Was it that he feels safe around him?
Yeah, I feel safe around you. Do you
know what I mean?
Safe. And like, so when you go like, oh, they put these characters in and to just be like the most overt, like, Kaiba, tell me your numbers.
It was very Rick and Morty with concentrated dark matter. That's what I was going for.
Yes. Yeah, like that Rick and Morty episode in the simulation where it's like, hey, how about some concentrated dark matter? Would you like some concentrated? Oh, I don't know the recipe. You better tell me. And I didn't notice that until I was kind of editing it through. And I wonder if people listening at home noticed.
I definitely didn't catch on to those specific references. I was just more going off vibes. The vibes
100%.
Actually, Billy, in the playtest, I don't know, what did you figure out that you were in a simulation? Because one thing that you 100% noticed because you mentioned it was there was a nightmare penguin, there was a robot knight, there was a deep sea warrior, and they are the avatars of the Big Five when they are trapped in a virtual world in the show.
That yes, that is the avatars of the Big Five, but also yes, you are writing a fan fiction room. So I was like, oh, look at this, an Easter egg. Danny's put in all the Big Five as a fun little reference to people playing along at home. Right. No, it was important to the room.
I think the robot monkey was the first character that made it into this room because
I need a robot monkey.
I knew that it was going to be virtual.
Perfect.
All this has proven. All this has proven to me is that if people ever need to get information out of it, put me in a simulation, I will just happily sing like a bird.
Just give them everything, or just yell all the secrets. If you get incepted,
the three numbers on the back of my credit card. Yeah. That's 056.
Oh no!
I think that the Noah's simulation season may have been the first chunk of Yu-Gi-Oh episodes I ever saw.
Really? I don't think I saw them when I was first watching
Wow.
Yu-Gi-Oh as a younger person. I think I watched them
they
for
were
the
on
first time.
They were on our
you.
TV a lot more than the other seasons. Like season 1, hardly on at all.
Which makes sense why this became the escape room, because it's clear that it was a big influence.
Very,
Because if
very
I were
much
to make
so.
a Yu-Gi-Oh escape room, simulation is not the first place I would go to in my mind.
Yeah, that season for some reason had a big impact on me. It also, to my memory, is the most bizarre idea of a computer simulation. Do you remember like what the actual plot of this season is?
No.
Their blimp has been hijacked. They have been put into a virtual world by the Big Five, who are trying to beat them in a virtual duel because that will allow them to steal one of their bodies and escape out into the real world, all under the guidance of Kaiba's dead adopted stepbrother.
Yeah, I do
who
remember now.
also ends up stealing one of their bodies and escaping.
Yeah, a bit
Bizarre.
wild. Well, okay, on that note,
Before
Pax,
having a change of heart and deciding, no, you know what? I'll go back into the virtual world and die instead.
Good, he deserves it. On that note, Pax, if you were making a Yu-Gi-Oh escape room, where would you set it?
Good question. I would probably set it either in something to do with Battle City, because that's the one that had the most influence on me, or probably during Joey's sister's operation.
Ooh,
That's kind
the
of fun.
operation room.
It's got some
while
stakes.
it's happening.
Yeah, Battle City. It did hurt
And
me
we have to duel
not
the
have.
surgeon.
Yeah. I'll bet these eyes on the duel. What do you bet?
That's very season 0.
That is very simple.
It did hurt me a little bit to not have more Marek and Bakura in this room.
Yeah.
I love them very much.
That is true.
But,
David, would you do anything if you were making a Yu-Gi-Oh room? What's your first gut feeling of this is what Yu-Gi-Oh is to me as a setting?
Look, I reckon through and through Duel's Kingdom, I would have been like the complete opposite, to the point where I was like, beforehand, I freaked out a little bit before the podcast. I was like, oh no, what if I don't remember these names properly? And I was surprised how I still remembered Rex Raptor and Weevil Underwood. And but I was freaking out. I was like, oh no, I don't know all this. But then getting into I think it was the best thing having the simulation, because it felt fresh rather than feeling like I'm just following
trying to remember.
Trying to remember. It wasn't a remembering game. It was an escape room. And I think having it in the simulation was perfect.
No, I want to change where I would have mine.
Okay.
I would put my escape room in my Valentine's room.
That's fair.
And he'd never escape.
He'd
stay forever.
The whole time, the whole escape room, you're just watching me pash my Valentine. And it's just real weird and awkward. That's the whole thing.
Bad audio experience for everyone at home.
Touch the doorknob of the door, and I'm like, nope, nothing happened.
Nope.
You're just still here.
You just got to keep watching.
Billy, I assume you're probably a little bit relieved that I didn't make Weevil more of an NPC for you to voice.
Oh, what is Weevil's voice?
Yeah.
My bug cards, Yugi. No, actually, now I'm really annoyed that you didn't. Yugi, my insect queen is gonna eat your magician
Brain!
and turn it into a little bug. You'll never escape, Yugi. My bugs will eat you and your flesh. Like that.
That would have been great.
Would have been very good. Man, why didn't you let me do this? Everyone at home is like, what a good voice. So good on my ears.
It's your big break.
Beautiful. All right. We can wrap up. We can start to wrap up a little bit.
Yeah.
Is there anything, Danny, that didn't get mentioned that you wanted to highlight in your fun escape room?
Oh, not about the escape room. I just don't think I have managed to highlight exactly how important Yu-Gi-Oh is to my upbringing and who I am as a person. To the point where, when before this room, I wanted to find my deck of Yu-Gi-Oh cards so that we could flip them and they could be part of the higher or lower game. And even in our tiny, tiny apartment, we are unable to find them. And I just sat down and cried because it was.
Where could they be?
Missing.
Where are
I
they?
don't know.
Nobody knows. It's a
Did you
mystery.
have them? Did you have them?
I don't see how I would have ever let them out of my possession enough for them to not be in this apartment.
But they don't seem to be.
But
So if you're listening at home and you want to...
if you have my cards, please tell me.
What deck was it? Or was it?
It was a bit of a mishmash, but it was pretty dragony.
It was probably
I
like
had-
original
it was-
pack.
Would it
It's
not
probably
be
like
the
Legend
same
of the
if you
Blue
bought-
Eyes original
I
pack
had
stuff.
Paladin of White Dragon. That was the best
Paladin
one.
and White Dragon.
Is it not
Loved
the
it.
same if you just bought those cards again? It's not the same.
Of course, it's not the same.
But it might be the next best thing. I've mentally gone in my head just like, okay, when it comes up to Daddy's birthday and anybody asks me, what do I get? I'd be like, pool money together. We're going to buy every single
would help,
Yu-Gi-Oh card from that
But
generation.
I'm not going to remember exactly what I had. I had a lot of cards.
You get to make
We
a
found
new
my
gen-
goddamn Pokemon cards when we were searching, and the
What if I
whole
sent
heap of
you?
them.
What if I sent you a pack of Duel Masters cards? Would that make it better?
I think we'd never be invited back.
Oh, no.
I
But
don't know
yeah,
if they're good or not. I don't know anything about Duel Masters.
no, I just remembered the betrayal occasionally of being a big Yu-Gi-Oh fan and then seeing wait a second.
I know. It was
God,
It's
it's
so
so
close.
bad. His hair is even the same Yu-Gi-Oh. Sorry, there's a YouTube video called Duel Masters was weird. Surprisingly, not a Yu-Gi-Oh clone. Sorry, YouTube video clickbait title. It is a Yu-Gi-Oh clone. He
It
looks like
totally is.
Yugi and he plays cards that look exactly like
Mhm.
like you can't be. It's not a Yu-Gi-Oh clone. That's the most Yu-Gi-Oh clone I've ever seen in my life.
and the game sucked.
Yeah, probably.
All right, guys, I gotta head off.
Yes, we will see you guys later. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was lovely to have you. It was great to have you back, you guys. And you did. I think you did better. You didn't do bad in the Chris one. You did better in this one, and I think you could feel it. You guys were very on point.
You
It
were
was
comfortable
wonderful.
where you were.
Can I make a request for the next escape room that we do?
Sure.
David, should we discuss and get back to them, or do you want to make a request now?
Can we request that we be on the show again, please? Because I love this.
No, that's not the request I wanted you to make.
Oh.
Yeah, Pax
okay.
has assumed he's already coming back. He's taken that as a given, and he's asking
Yeah,
for
no.
specifics.
No, if I don't.
In
come
my
back-
head, if we don't get a certain ranking, we don't get let back. Like there's
I would love to do a Digimon one because that's another one I know me and David love to share the love of.
Now, how far does your Digimon knowledge stretch? Because, quite frankly, I can't even get into season 2. For me, it is
season
all
2. If they
the
once they
original.
change, when they change the kids.
Me and David both hold, and this is controversial, and people don't like this, but me and David both hold the notion that Digimon is better than Pokemon.
I do
The
not
anime.
have a problem. Yeah, as
The
far as
anime.
yeah, I
100%.
totally am fine with that.
I think the Digimon anime, the first 50 episode season,
Spectacular TV.
it's very, very good. Like you watch it again, you're like, oh, actually, this is real good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything
it's Breaking
from,
Bad for kids.
yeah,
It
everything
kind of is.
from
It's so well made.
yeah, everything up to Apocalypse. That's my cutoff point of true knowledge.
Yeah, I remember Pokemon.
Yeah.
I am still scarred from episode 5 or whatever, where
Yeah.
Miramon, the guy on
Miramon,
fire,
oh, it's
is
horrible.
screaming that his own fire is burning him to death. He's like, I'm in pain, as he slides down a mountain into a village. Ah! Help me!
It
It's
was pretty
ridiculous.
full on.
It's insane. All right.
But I could definitely make some Digimon work.
Thank you. For people who wanted to follow on to other stuff that you're doing or check you out or see what's going on in the world of David and Pax, David, where can people find you and what's going on?
You can find me on Twitch at David Post Office, and you can find me on Instagram at David Post Office.
Perfect.
Nice and
And
easy.
Pax, what's going on in the world of Pax? Where can people find you?
Just Pax Society everywhere. You can find me. I'm the same everywhere in name and in vibes. And I assume most of your listeners are Australian. Is that correct?
No.
I think they're all American.
Oh, okay. Well, then I have nothing for you, America.
You can't watch anything.
You can't watch
Nothing
any
for
of
you.
my stuff.
We've got some Australia though.
Okay, for those some Australians, my sitcom should be coming to Australia soon to a streaming service that I'm not allowed to mention legally, but you'll know it when you hear it. Called Raised by Refugees. So keep an eye out for that.
Nice.
Wonderful. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for playing through. Danny, thank you for making such a fun room. I hope people enjoyed it, even if they weren't Yu-Gi-Oh fans. But also, I hope you're all Yu-Gi-Oh fans anyway.
Just become Yu-Gi-Oh fans.
Just become Yu-Gi-Oh fans, you losers. All right, that's how we treat our audience here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to help support the show and the other stuff that we make, you can always jump on our Patreon to support it. If you want to hear the audio of me doing the playtesting for this room, that's up there for all of our $5 donors, as well as silly bonus episodes of solving mysteries. And there's one coming up soon of us going through all the rules to how to write a murder mystery and comparing them to the rules to how to write a murder mystery that Danny wrote when she was 11 years old.
13.
11 sounds funnier.
Sure.
So thank you, everybody, for listening. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you again, David and Pax, for coming on the show. Let's all say goodbye. Bye.
Thanks for having us.